Hey, I'm Rom, and I just got into Sheridan animation. Yippee, woo, woohoo. Alright, anyways, yeah, it took a while to finally get in here, and it's a school and program that I've been passionate about and dreamed about since I was in high school. And 2 years later, or whatever, like 3 years later, I finally made it. Shout out to Sheepdog Animation for tutoring me for like the past 2 years. Amazing service and just amazing tutors, like beyond my, I can't even explain how great it was. Without their guidance and help, I wouldn't have been as great as an artist and animator I am now. And just I learned so much from them. Now let's finally get into my portfolio results. I had a score of 92%. The cutoff I think was 89% for domestic students because I am a Canadian citizen. I grew up in Canada, and my figure drawing score is 10 out of 10. Way better than last year. I think figure drawing is what kind of held me back from getting in last year. And some tips for figure drawing. Since I knew that was my weakest point, I really spent the entire summer just refining my skills with figure drawing, practicing C's and S curves, untraditional like drawing materials like pen and paper, practicing those curves, and looking at people on YouTube like Forced with Michael Matisse. He has a very cool way of and technique of or ideas of how to do figure drawing. Richard Smithman is also a really good person on YouTube to check out. He talks about all the fundamentals, so if you really need help with that, you can. And all of these would be in the link in the description. And also, when I started going back to school after that summer for my third year, something that's great about Sheridan is the extra life drawings. I would spend hours and hours after school late at night to just practice and yeah, stuff like that. So when it came to long poses, I'm thinking about anatomy and structure and just showing that I could draw the entire human body. Thinking about, since this one's seated, I'm thinking about the weight, the interaction with the hand and the face, showing a little bit of shading, but not too much, nothing too crazy, showing the wrapping lines and showing what's important. And also when doing the figure drawings, I'm thinking about straights to curves and all the other curves I'm seeing while looking and observing the human body of this figure. The second pose is a standing one. I was focusing on the cool hand kind of pose that he was in and the sort of perspective. Like his left side is going a lot farther, and since it's farther away, there will be less details, so like his hand's a lot more simple and stuff like that. Something that my figure drawing professor has told me is to not make it too cartoony and to make sure to show all of the figure, so like the arms, the legs, the torso, the feet, the hands, and a little bit of the facial features if you can. But since this is a longer pose, you obviously have enough time. And something that I'm also thinking about is pushing stuff farther back, so having this like large shadow shape showing that this is in the back, and the one that's more forward, since this is sort of in perspective, it's a lot lighter. I'm also making sure that one side is different than the other, making one's more simple and make the other one more complex, having that contrast. Onto the quick ones. These are, I think, both 2 minutes. Something I was also told is to show movement, and focus on that, but also remember your proportions and stuff like that. So in this one, I'm showing wrapping contour and also thinking about the hand and the head and thinking about the weight. And this figure was leaning on a box, so I sort of lightly put the silhouette of the box, because again, the whole point of the figure drawing is to show the figure, and that is the main focus. Again, I'm showing different contrasts, so showing the hand in the far left is behind him with that big shadow shape, and the leg is also far, so I made a big shadow shape there, and just shorthanding a lot of the different parts and making it simple. And again, thinking about the contrast with straight to curve and S's and C's and light and dark sort of thing, making it interesting. Now onto the last one of my figure drawings. This one's 3 minutes, so a little longer, just a minute difference. But this one, he's like leaning more. The little ghosty like lines behind them is just me trying to figure out where or how much I'm gonna over exaggerate, because something I love to do in figure drawing, because I'm more comfortable with it now, is exaggerate and like add some fun things to it. So, and again, showing my skill of how fast I'm going with this by having everything here, the head, the hands, the legs, showing the wrapping contour, and showing the understructure, like the ball that I use for the calf, and where that ankle bone might be. And again, thinking about the contrast, like things in the back are a lot more silhouette-y and dark, and things that are more forward are light and more bold. Something to also think about is line weight when you do this, and I wish I added a more variety of line weight. So maybe in the foreground, so stuff that are closer, like the arm and the leg, the leading leg, is a lot more thicker or something, or the farther back ones are, I don't know, I just think I could have done it a lot more cleaner. And again, I'm also showing I'm measuring the distance between the knees and stuff, so you want to show understructure, you want to show your understanding of anatomy and movement, because animation's movement, and this is an animation based program. Now moving on to my hand drawing, and this is something that I also had a hard time doing last year, but this year I think I did a pretty good job. So the score I got for my hands is 9 out of 10, which is a lot better than last year. And I had the ability to talk to some faculty members over at the Sheridan program, the animation program, and he told me to, when you do your hand, your figure drawings, please make it traditional, because you know, people can trace, people can like edit it, people can undo it over and over again. But with paper, you could tell when someone's erasing, and you know, it's just a lot harder to sort of fake your skill with, I guess. I don't really agree with that, but hey man, it's how you put it to me. So this year the prompt was hand holding an object, hand throwing an object. I chose to have a dice because I'm so cool, I guess. But yeah, I had some references from my own hand, my offhand, just holding this dice and then throwing it. One thing that I struggled with last year is paying attention to the spacing of the drawing. Like it was really like super tight close into like the hand, when there's like no room for me to show the object getting tossed. And I also forgot to throw the object last year, because it was like the last thing I had to do and I wasn't really paying attention. That's why you want to do your portfolio stuff early on. So even though the requirements aren't out yet, you could still do your layouts, your character design, and you can also practice your figure drawing and your hand drawing and your basics, stuff like that. So with hands, I was also using it or thinking about it as gesture. So thinking about and observing the different curves and angles I'm seeing with my hand. So like the C's and the S's and stuff like that. I also use bond paper, which is a slightly translucent paper. So I was able to do under sketch with a blue pencil, and just keep trying and erasing and playing around with that. But also, once I had that super rough under sketch down, I put another layer of bond paper over it and made the sketch more clean and more presentable. And then on top of that, I did my pencil with my like black hard graphite pencil layer on top of it. And I did the same with my second hand where it's throwing. And again, you can see that I'm measuring the distance between the fingers and the perspective, and made sure I threw the dice this time. Yay! Learn from your mistakes, you know? But yeah, taking stuff from figure drawing, and again, I feel like I'm gonna say this for almost everything, but figure drawing has helped me with a lot of things, especially when it came to character design as well. Speaking of character rotation, I got a 15 out of 15 for my character rotation. So that's the front, the 3/4, the side view, and the back 3/4 view. And for this took like one of probably the most time to figure out what I wanted to do. I was thinking either of changing my character design because one of the faculty members said my character design was absolutely amazing. You just have to fix a few things. Something that he told me from my last year. I'll show him like my last year compared to my this year's portfolio, but it was sort of grabbing onto things that already existed. Like it wasn't as original, and you kind of want to design your own original characters and stuff like that. So I can see where he was coming from, but he really loved the pose and the little things I did. But for this year, I noticed a lot of people do animals, and I thought, hey, pig maybe. And with the pig, I was thinking of what kind of pig will this be? Will this be like what kind of what's his story? What's the story behind this pig? What's his occupation? What is the setting? Is this a good guy, bad guy? And I started doing a lot of sketches and stuff like that. My very first idea was having him as a stereotypical dad, but that was very shit because you couldn't really tell that he's supposed to be a dad. You just think this is just a random dude with a mustache and a fanny pack and some dad shoes. But instead, I did something more fun, which is a Viking pig. Something that was suggested by my tutor is like make sure that it's obvious what they are and who they are. So I thought, okay, I want pigs are usually like big. So I did a bunch of sketches of maybe skinny pigs, some like big old round pigs, and I thought, you know, I'm gonna make him a fat pig. Okay, he's a fat pig who's tall and he's a Viking. What are Vikings mostly known for? Being very scary and like barbarous, you know, like pillaging villages and killing people and stuff like that. And I want to show my personality. Something that you should also do when doing your portfolio work is to show who you are as an artist. I like having fun, and I don't like to be a really serious person when it comes to art. I like to have fun with it, add some comedy to my artwork. And I wanted this pig to be like a gentle giant, but none of the poses were turning out well. So I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna make him a villain. And yeah, another thing to think about is silhouette. So I did some sketches of the silhouette first and then did some sketches over top and add some variants and stuff like that. This guy changed a lot. Something I would also recommend is to do this sort of pie graph thing, just to show that you understand perspective and you understand how the rotation is going. And it's also like a good reminder, like, oh, this is where the feet is supposed to be. Oh no, because that was my problem, was the perspective with feet and perspective with other things. I'm really happy how this turned out. Another thing I would suggest is to physically model your character. I did mine with like some like oil-based clay so it doesn't dry, and I also had it over since I'm in school and I took a sculpting class, and to also buy like a very clear ball ornament thing and draw some perspective lines on it, because oh boy is that very useful. Like that has saved my ass. That's like another thing my tutor taught me. And also like this kind of grid thing that he's standing on, that's another thing my tutor has taught me. Something to also think about is to have the underlying structure, keep it clean, but also keep it loose, and just don't make it like a bunch, like a mess, like there's scribbles inside, you know what I mean? Now moving on to the short animation, I got a perfect score for this one. Something I wanted to show is I understood the principles of animation, anticipation, squash and stretch, showing that I can animate in perspective since the character design we got was juice box, and showing some acting too with near the end where he's like, oh no, I'm falling, and then he drops, and showing some smears too. I wanted to flex my animation skills and to show that I really love what I'm doing. Something that I was told is, or people worry about, not told, but worried about is, oh, the frames, how much frames I'm supposed to have, because they add a limit. I think it's like 48 frames or less than. And for me, I didn't worry about it too much as long as it's not going for like, I don't know, like a whole ass minute. Like you want it to be like a simple loop or like a simple like action. Like he's like, I just thought of this dude just jumping and falling off the cliff, which is a good contrast to my last year where the walkie-talkie didn't make it, or did make it, and he made it across. I also did like a simple little layout, nothing too crazy. Keep it sketchy, keep it simple, because the main focus is the animation. And yeah, thinking about sizing, like when he's getting closer, he's getting bigger, and stuff like that. And using the tail method for the juice box straw. And another thing I thought would be fun is having the little juice box flaps as his arms, sort of thing. That's really fun. Another thing I was told, or some advice I was told, is to have fun with this one. Don't treat it as an assignment. They don't like assignments. They just want to see what you do and who you are as an artist, which I think is pretty cool. Now onto my storyboarding. This kind of hurts me to see that I got a fairly low mark on my storyboarding. It's like 16 out of 20. It's good. Again, I'm not complaining. I just know I could have done better, and it will, I don't know, I'll improve over time. Just a little note from myself. But yeah, this is the storyboard. The topic was better safe than sorry. And we had the possum again, this little piece of shit. It was the fox last time, and I was so comfortable drawing the fox, and then they switched it on us and gave us this fucking bitch again. But yeah, storyboarding was also something that took a while. Just thinking of what I could have done, because there's so many possibilities with better safe than sorry. I started off brainstorming of one sentence storylines. Like I think one of them was like, he's not paying attention to the instructions of his IKEA furniture, and he builds it and it just collapses on him and kills him. A lot of my ideas were essentially just killing off the possum or just harming him. So this one is like a little different from the rest, and one that I'm kind of happy. I just realized I could have cleaned it up. Some of the drawing is peeking out the panels because I was putting it together in Photoshop, and I use Krita to draw. It's a really nice program, especially for perspective. It's like such an easy program for that. Like you don't have to really like work too hard. You just need to essentially know how to draw in perspective, obviously. So the first panel, Possum gets distracted at his job in the big city, not looking where he's going. He's falling in love with this lady possum. Kind of looks like Marge Simpson over there. Then I changed the camera angle to show his concern and showing that he's like looking and realizing, oh shit. Possum finally looks to where he's going. And then the third panel is a close-up showing his fear, screaming, showing some action lines of him falling down. And then the panel 4 is just revealing that he lost his job and is hurt and should have been safe than sorry. But yeah, something that they said is have the image very clear, the action very clear, and what they're doing. Because what they're doing is they're scanning through your images. They want to see fun, different angles, showing that you can move the camera around and the character around, that you understand, that you can draw on model and stuff like that. A great way to like practice to Beyond Model is to break down the character in basic forms, and stuff like that, and then just drawing him over and over again, drawing this little fucking shit over and over again. Another thing to also think about is not to over render. Keep it loose. It's a storyboard. Storyboards are usually not perfect or not like super clean most of the time, and stuff like that. I'm showing the refining lines and perspective lines. Again, I'm just flexing my artistic ability, knowing what I know, stuff like that. And then afterwards they usually read out what you're writing, what the action is, what's happening, and then they grade it and to see if it's good or not. So yeah, that was my storyboard. Pretty proud of how it turned out. I could have paid attention to the cleanup a little bit more, but that's fine. Maybe that's why I got a lower mark than I thought I would have had. Alright, on to the big chungus of what took up most of my time is my layouts. Thinking about why it took so long is just tweaking a lot and like coming up with ideas, making a lot of thumbnail sketches, and thinking about what would be. Again, I had lots of help with my tutor and some faculty that I was talking to. Something that he told me was make sure, again, no tangents. You can see the perspective is changing in the indoor room very clearly. Make sure it's very lived in, or look like it's very lived in. Don't add too much detail. Only add detail when it requires you to have. So like stuff in the foreground should have more detail than stuff in the background. Like if you're doing out in your outdoor layout, when you have like mountains far away, you don't want to like add too much detail to that. Maybe just make it into a silhouette, stuff like that. This one is from my last year's, the indoor one, and just had to tweak a bit of stuff, things that weren't working out. In my old one, the pipe in the far right was blocking where it shows the shift, and I feel like I could have moved it even more, or even removed it and maybe just made it like a L-shaped thing. Another thing to also think about is try not to add too many straights, and try to have more like, think about like in figure drawing, S's and C curves, and also to think about having 3 or even 2 or even hell 1 shading. So like in the foreground, completely dark, like really dark, because it's really close to the camera. Maybe some shading for the characters, but do not overdo it. Again, this is morely focused on your perspective and your layout design. And for my outdoor, I did my Viking pig in his fishing village. I thought of composition more, something that my tutor was talking to me about. So this tree is pointing towards the middle, and this barrel on the left is also pointing to the middle. Something to also think about is, again, framing and focusing where you want the attention to be. So here I want it to be in the middle, and so I'm again pointing the tree there, pointing that there, adding shading where it needs to be. I should have made the house on the left a little more faint, and the houses on the far right a little more silhouette-y, maybe not as much detail as I put into it, but that's okay. Again, I'm using Krita for this for most of my digital stuff, and maybe I can make a video based off of what Krita brushes I use, or just, I don't know, talk about more shit, because this video is probably gonna be kind of long because I keep rambling on. I'm sorry, but yeah, again, thinking composition, S curves, C curves, and framing, composition, stuff like that. Last one is personal work, and something that I was told is to not overthink it, and you want to show quality rather than quantity. And I decided to show things that I was doing on my own spare time. So my 3D works, doing this fucking donut tutorial, and also using that knowledge into making a 3D layout with some 2D characters on top of it, and showing some other layouts I've done, and some paintings, digital painting that I've done to show like what I'm into or what I doing when I'm not doing animation based work, but also show what your personal work should also like focus on animation type stuff. So I'm showing layouts, I'm showing character design process, I'm showing storyboarding that I quickly drew up. I had a reel, and I also showed my more characters design with like the mouth chart, the expression chart, stuff like that. And again, it's more quality than quantity, so you really want to show your best work. That was like the main thing. You want to focus on quality rather than quantity, and try not to show any schoolwork type stuff. And stuff to show in your reel is like, again, like animation and work that you really think is your best and you know is your best. I think that's why it hurt so much that my personal work got so little marks. Like it barely changed from last year. Kind of sad about that, because I really put a lot of more effort into it, and seeing how it didn't change kind of sucks. But again, I'm happy where I'm at right now, and it's just something that will come over time, me getting better as I do more stuff. So that's about it for my portfolio. I don't know if this was an exciting or informative video for anyone who wants to apply again or wants to apply in the future. Some advice I would give is don't be afraid of reaching out to tutors. Make sure you do your research on them, make sure they're legit. I was fortunate enough to have a free Zoom meeting with my tutor just to talk and get the vibe. What do they do? Seeing their website and how legit they are was really nice and useful. And also reaching out to people for help, and going into open houses for Sheridan and talking to the head of the animation, like Mario, because he's the one usually like talking about the program and saying stuff about it, like presentation shit. So don't be afraid to reach out and like email people. Yeah, and also take your art seriously and really hunker down and focus on your work, and start as early as you can, because when I realized that, I think it was in January when I found out I didn't make the program last year, I immediately reached out to my tutor, say, hey, let's restart again, let's hop on a Zoom call and let's just keep working until I get in. And the hard work really did pay off. And I'm mostly doing this video just to look back on in the far future to see how far my work has come. And I really use my YouTube channel to show my work and to use it as like a diary. I'm not sure if I'll do any more videos based off of my schooling and stuff, but I know I will be showing a lot of my animation work and stuff. And if you like this amazing voice and my work, you can check me out on Instagram, Hey I'm Ram, and on Twitter, Instagram, here on YouTube. My portfolio will be in the description. My LinkedIn will also be in the description if you want to see my work. And let me know in the comments if you want to see more stuff, or I should make any more videos based off of my schooling or whatever. I feel like, I don't know, I just use this YouTube channel for whatever crap I kind of want to. So like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to find something to like post here just for fun. I'm not even sure if I'll even edit this video and send it off. I don't know, man. Again, I'm rambling to myself in this empty ass room in this shitty USB mic, but hope this was helpful to someone. And yeah, good luck to all those future artists and animators. And yeah, goodbye. Yeah. Woo. All right. So fucking dumb.